Hello and welcome back to the show. We are potentially poised for a clean sweep as FlyQuest are one game away from sweeping the best of 5 against Evil Geniuses. We'll see if EG can change things up and take a win here in Game 3.
It's going to be tough for them. You know, the analyst has talked about things that they would like to see them do differently in the draft. But for me, I just need to see them play better. At the end of the day, they have not looked coordinated in their early game fights in Game 1 or Game 2. And I think that FlyQuest has really looked on. So EG, yes, you can do different things in draft. They didn't go to red side like Mark and Prawley were hoping for to get a good matchup or a counter pick or whatever you want to call it for Jiizuke. So it's going to come down to, can you execute in game? Can you be on the same page and replicate some of the success you had in the later end of the split, which got you to that second place finish, which put you in such a good spot, to be here, right? And got you the win over FlyQuest in your previous series.
All right, well, the bans are coalescing somewhat. EG are now on the point of, yes, we still ban Syndra every game, but we're going to put 2 against IgNar, Rakan, and Blitzcranker out. And this time, we're finally off the Kalista train. Now, Kalista Taric was good when these teams met way back earlier in playoffs. It was a very big winning part of the compositions, but they're off the train. They say, okay, Aphelios is what we want. Let's grab that now.
Also worth noting, if you pick Ornn here, you basically almost feel like you have to take Trundle alongside it or potentially give that over to Svenskeren, which can neutralize a lot of the power of that Ornn. I don't know if they feel like Svenskeren is even willing to play the Ornn though, so they are going to go Kalista. Likely they could just go to Kalista Taric and play what EG played in the previous couple games. They could also go Kalista Braum. There's different options there, but Svenskeren has the opportunity now to go and do to solo what Santorin did to Kumo in Game 1, which is grab that Trundle pick.
I wonder if they might do something a little bit interesting here and grab an early mid laner, knowing that FlyQuest either counterpick mid right now or they have to give away the Taric that is so well comboed with the Kalista. I'm curious if they want to kind of make that forked decision and get a priority mid laner now. Because you're seeing some various hovers, maybe also the Gragas is up. That's a crucial one. Yes, we know Trundle is a good counter into Ornn, but Gragas has been so winning for Svenskeren in playoffs. It's most played in playoffs by far, and they say, look, it's our last chance to grab it. Get it now.
Yeah, I like this. The more I think about it, especially coming off of last game where they just had no engage whatsoever and looked pretty impotent when it got to those later stages and they weren't able to actually force anything, they weren't able to make anything happen. Gragas is a playmaker. Gragas is someone who can engage for you, who can have early gank threat. Obviously with that body slam flash, also with the cask post 6 can be pretty strong.
Ooh, they don't even want the Taric. It's gonna be Pyke coming through for IgNar, another aggressive playmaker. I am excited about what this draft has for us so far. For those of you watching online, stay tuned. But those of you on ESPN, you are heading to commercial break. We will see you back here for the start of the game.
I've got to say I'm a little bit surprised to see the Pyke into the Tahm Kench. Tahm Kench feels like such a strong denial pick, but if you feel like you can run that lane, Pyke is another great roamer, right? I kind of listed Pyke as that third champion at the top of the day, of those roaming playmaking supports that IgNar is known for alongside the Rakan and the Blitz, which are banned. So whether or not it's good for that bot lane 2v2, if IgNar feels he can get out of lane, push in early, make things happen elsewhere, that has been a lot of what FlyQuest has found success doing. They are now double banning top, so they take away the Poppy, they take away the Aatrox. They're trying to force Kumo to go for something new. I think Kumo will just go towards Mordekaiser at this point, honestly. That is another comfortable pick for him. Set is banned out. The other two big ones kind of banned out there for him. So I am expecting him to just go Mord top as the answer.
Yep. Well, we're seeing yet again that Castle ban coming through. We know FlyQuest need a jungler. They're going to keep what Cloud9's been putting down, which is the Nocturne pick up there. Yeah, this is very aggressive, right? He can join those side lane roams that IgNar can throw down. A lot of good engage tools as well, right? Nocturne Ornn can really start out fights nicely. This could be very, very chaotic, very exciting. Cool to see that FlyQuest agrees. Poppy was maybe the go-to tank. I do want to know if Kumo does go for a fighting champion like the Mortars you're mentioning, or if he really goes down to something like a Maokai. He says, no, you are on tank duty. You're just going to play something like that. And I'm curious what does come down. Azir, so some team fighting for Jiizuke. It's some backline damage. It can be some engaged tools as well.
Okay, Nasus I didn't think we were going to get. Renekton is another one that's popular for Kumo. This feels less about the 1v1 and more just about the 5v5 there, as you know, Mordekaiser does have, I think, a better matchup against tanks. But this is comfort for Kumo. This is another one he has played quite a lot alongside that Mordekaiser out of the options that are remaining unbanned. It does give very good gank setup for Svenskeren on this Gragas here too. There's a point and click stun. It is now a lane for him to gank because Azir, not a lot of gank assist, and Tahm Kench, really not the best gank assist there. It is going to be Corki Azir in the mid lane, so farming there. But Nocturne to be paired with the Ornn and that Pyke, I think can be quite a nice combo because the Ornn ultimate layered on top of the Nocturne ultimate can get people low enough to the point where Pyke can go for the execute. And once Pyke gets a reset in those fights and gets that first ultimate kill, that is so much of a gold injection into the team that can kind of springboard you into a successful team fight. So that will be exciting for FlyQuest, but Tahm Kench may have something to say about that. Can be very difficult for both Pyke and Nocturne to deal with in those later stages.
I will say most of this draft looks a lot more like an EG draft than it has throughout most of this series. I like Zeyzal's Tahm Kench. I am glad Gragas is back there for Svenskeren. The one small issue I have, though, is, well, Jiizuke in the mid lane is 3-7 all-time on Azir. It is a very low win rate pick for him. Hopefully it looks good for him. We'll see if it happens. We are on match point. Welcome back to our ESPN viewers. We're going to see if FlyQuest close it out, but I do like this EG draft a lot more. I think they have the tools that they need to take a win here in Game 3.
Will be interesting to find out if they're going to be able to execute on that, because while I do think they have, you know, a fair bit of comfort, especially looking at the Gragas and looking at the bot lane there, that is going to be very nice for them. It also can be difficult, I think, in some ways when you're looking at just the amount of frontline damage that FlyQuest does have. They could even just fight front to back, you know, with Ornn upgraded items on Corki and Turtle. They have the ability to play heavily through the side lane to maybe shut down some of the threat of something like the Renekton pushing in that side lane because of the Nocturne available there. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how it does play out, but I do think FlyQuest are going to have their chances too. And with how well PowerOfEvil has been playing, he's on another scaling, farming champion in the mid lane, and you can expect him to be a monster come late game on the Corki.
All right, here we go. Does IgNar scrap at the very beginning of the game? 1 minute in, he's going to hit Jiizuke. So far, no, but he is sitting around. I mean, they are probably poised to go for a bit of a late invade, but IgNar's going to spot Jiizuke, says, okay, hello, you are there. All right, no harm, no foul. Back we go. Solo and Santorin again, going to look for the sweep, going to look for the aggressive ward that's not really doing too much. They don't find anything to kill, but they're going to very safely start on that side of the map yet again and get that red buff.
I think why IgNar was up towards that mid lane was not so much the threat on Jiizuke, though I'm sure he would have gone for a hook if the opportunity presented itself. I think it was a nod to the fact that EG 2 games in a row has invaded towards that red buff. And if they do go for that top jungle invade, you know, with the Gragas and Renekton, and you have Pyke there in the mid lane, IgNar can roam up and respond to that incredibly quickly and shut that down. So I think he's just saying, hey, I'm going to spend a little bit of time in this early game to be able to respond to the move that EG has been making a couple times in a row.
All right, nice optimization there. Smites the Krug. Really high armor into that one. Now a small fight to the bottom side. Zeyzal trades back with IgNar, but loses more health than he gains, and it's going to be the lane they're looking pretty decent on the EG side. It's going to be pushing early on towards FlyQuest. It's not a hard push from the Pyke duo. Zeyzal's going to turret looks like early on in this matchup as the junglers are trading camps back and forth, and so far it's identical clears, right? Red to Krugs to Raptors. PoE getting poked up by Jiizuke very early on, but with TP and all the consumables there, shouldn't be too worried about his lane phase.
He's got a lot of sustain for sure, and he is actually going to electrocute, so for those kind of short trades, Santorin wrapping around here. Jiizuke has to be a little bit careful, but PowerOfEvil is getting low.
It's a lot of damage. That is flash forced out of PoE. He really wanted to bait him in for Santorin, but you've got Gragas over the wall. Here comes his spell shoot, but he's not going to block anything at all. It won't be a kill, but it will be a lot of damage, and a second flash forced away. EG for the first time all series get a good early game.
And that's off the Azir. The Azir is just dominating there in that 1v1. That was a big overforce.
Oh, they're trying.
No, they're going to back it up. But that was even just delaying that recall means he misses the end of this wave, and the wave is going to be stacked more heavily, pushing away from him. I mean, he can TP back, sure, but the wave is screwed here, as he has lost a lot of those minions. And those are not minions that are there for him to collect. It's 21 CS to 7. PowerOfEvil with the saddest buy I've ever seen on a Corki, the double rejuve feed. The please don't kill me anymore.
I gotta point something small out right here, which is way back like 2-3 years ago when there were all the big AD carry changes, Riot nerfed the base health regen of almost every market in the game, except for ones that typically played mid lane. So Corki still has reasonably high base health regen, but if he was, say, Lucian, that would be a horrible buy because his base regen's so low it wouldn't multiply anything.
Well, not the worst buy then, but I'd still rather have the extra Doran's ring and the refillable.
Yes, same.
I
want to buy for 300 gold.
It just felt like a huge overforce, right? You know, it felt like one of those situations where they want to make the gank happen, but PowerOfEvil was still level 2. And then you're having this level 2 Corki fight into a level 3 Azir who already was up in health. And that just put him in a situation where he had to flash away. Then Santorin felt like even more of an overforce, where you're kind of in the situation where you feel like, oh, we already messed up, we got to get something back. So then Santorin overchases, not knowing where Svenskeren is, and he has to blow his flash too. So it's definitely a bit of a mess up that was then amplified by another mistake where they're kind of stuck in this sunk cost fallacy where, like, we got to get something out of this gank. We've got to, you know?
Yep, at the end of the day, it was EG who played it better. So a 300 gold lead in the very early game. The Renekton push obviously going quite nicely up against this Ornn. Does a very good job, of course, last hitting under turret here. Solo does, but it's still going to be this 3 CS difference, 2 CS difference. Now fighting the bottom side. That could be some roots, though. Decent damage right there towards WildTurtle, puts him at half. And this is a bot lane lead that is going, it feels like, EG's way. They're not up in farm, but they're certainly up in pressure.
It's really hard as Pyke to fight into a Tahm Kench, because if you want to get aggressive at all, you know, if you ever E forward, Tahm Kench just starts hitting you and can devour you and kill you off. So that is very, very scary for IgNar playing this Pyke, and means they're going to have to play much more of a defensive game than you would normally want to on this Kalista. The trade-off obviously is that you have powerful roaming with IgNar, and you're hoping that the playmaking come, you know, mid-game and teamfight time is going to kind of make that worthwhile.
All right, well, not a lot of damage dealt top side, but now a dive in the mid lane. They know he's got absolutely nothing, and it is a solo kill for first blood for Jiizuke. That is what he wanted, and a re-engage towards IgNar. He has to flash away, and it's not enough. Jiizuke gets 2 kills early on. This is what EG wanted.
Evil Genius is finally coming alive in this series. The first truly big moment, it feels like, for them of this 3-game series. Jiizuke, PowerOfEvil, really low here. Felt like he could stick around, but he's down a level. He's out of mana. Jiizuke goes in, takes him down, flashes over the wall, and has the support of Zeyzal and Svenskeren to continue this fight. And then as IgNar goes forward, great, you hook him in. He's just going to kill you. You are so squishy on that Pyke at this point of the game. Look at the farm and the kill advantage. This is a monstrous lead for Jiizuke in this early stage of the game.
Man, even at the emote during that fight, I gotta point that out. If you just replay again, there is an emote added during the battle. Beautiful, 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 exactly. He's angry. And the Italian Stallion is on the board for 2 kills, double the CS as well. This is the kind of game that EG can win. We'll see if they can get it over the finish line, but it's obviously a great start.
It is a really, really good start here from EG. And it's the kind of start that can make you feel as a player in this series that, hey, we can actually do this. Look at this. These guys aren't so good. You know, I'm way ahead. You know, get that confidence back. Build up a little bit of that swagger that I think EG had created for themselves throughout the split. And PowerOfEvil, because of all this early stuff that has gone so bad for him, is set very far behind, and his buys have just been horrendous. It's double rejuve bead on the first death, and it's a cull on the second death. He is so far away from his first completed item with very little power, and PowerOfEvil is going to be set massively behind in this game. So I would like to see EG start stacking up the neutral, start using this mid lane advantage that you have. Let's see those early dragons. You have pressure on the bot lane 2v2. You have a massively winning mid lane. Take dragons, take Rift Heralds, start building towards a late game win condition now while you're ahead.
Absolutely agree. Would like to see if they can get something to push down to the bottom side of the map. I think they've generally had push pressure. It's also the great first recall. Bang's had good farm. He's got the BF sword. Bot lane should, right now, in this kind of state, look very good for EG. Top lane, okay, it's bouncing back and forth, but Kumo should still feel very good in the matchup as well, right? He's got that Tiamat power spike. That should feel very, very comfortable for the Renekton. Yes, I would like to see these things come through. I don't want this to just stop down, play farm off for 8 minutes, and then wait for FlyQuest to catch back up. So we'll see if EG can turn up the pressure, keep things going on. Yes, bot lane's being pushed down. I would like to see this wave right now turn into Drake.
I agree completely. There should be no reason that you give up first dragon when you're massively ahead in mid lane, massively ahead in pressure in bot lane, and jungle is pretty even. So I want to see them start it up. They know Corki is basing. It looks like they're moving to get the vision and try to make something happen here. Will be a blue buff steal to start, but should be an easy follow-up to go over to that dragon and try to grab the first one for themselves.
I like the IgNar stealth, but it's still Turtle taking a couple auto attacks right there, and again, they can clear the next wave. It's going to be Nocturne walking down, and they will know that Santorin's here. He clears the ward out. They should expect that PowerOfEvil is down, and though they had the winner to rush down the Drake, they chose to go for blue instead. I don't hate it. I think it's a choice that you can certainly make, and especially if you can get the Drake right afterwards, it's still going to be okay. Jiizuke on components has the mana regen, but going towards Nashor's Tooth. Pretty standard early item pathing for the Azir. And now, top lane, gotta fight back and forth. Kumo wants to go for the scuttle. Auto Q takes it. Nicely done there. Walks out and gets a bit more gold for himself. Stays 1,600 gold ahead overall as a team, and Svenskeren gonna stay around the bot side.
Zeyzal can just walk forward here, though. Svenskeren is coming in. We'll see if he can find someone.
And there's going to be the body slam, and there is the Kalista ult to bring him to safety. So IgNar, no real harm or foul there. It is going to be an ult for ult. Sure, it's a shorter cooldown on the Gragas, but I'd argue the Gragas one is more impactful anyway.
I agree, and I don't even think that it was really worth trying to ult IgNar. I think you almost have to save your ultimate for the Kalista in that situation, because Kalista was behind IgNar and was always going to be able to pull him back into safety. They knew that IgNar had no flash, and it felt like they kind of got baited out by that a little bit, thinking maybe, hey, we can burst them down, or maybe we can separate them enough that Turtle doesn't have the range to ult him back in. Either way, that gank does result in the dragon, so well handled here by EG. And we'll see if Santorin can try to get this Rift Herald back on the top side. That is going to be his answer, but they should know about it. You can see the ping came out on that vision plant, so they are fully aware of what is happening, and I would like to see EG try to contest this, but I don't know if they're going to be quick enough to do so.
Well, they're going to try to come down, but it's right now going to be a 3-on-1 as Kumo spots that Solo and Santorin are starting it up, but the eye's not getting popped, right? They're playing it slow. They're trying to get the reinforcements down, play around the smite battle that's potentially here. 1,700 health left on this one, as Svenskeren is now around. Here comes the ultis. Here comes the dive. Double knockup. The instant dive towards the back line. They got him feared as well. Will they kill Kumo? Yes, they will. Santorin's on the board. Aphelios is going to grab the Rift Herald. That is EG grabbing this one. Santorin has to flash away now again. Can Svenskeren re-engage? Has flash if he needs it. Has the ulti in a second. 2 more kills picked up. EG take that fight 2-1. Plus the Herald. That's going to look really good for them. And here comes the chase down. They've popped Predator. They've popped the slow onto 2. Here's the next body slam, and that is going to be the kill. It's 3-1 for that team fight. Evil geniuses are turning up the heat.
Another big win there for EG, and they can even drop Rift top. Bang has it. He could actually just drop it right now if he wanted and put a ton of gold in his own pocket here. PowerOfEvil, yeah, he showed up to that team fight, but he's sitting on almost nothing at this point in the game. So FlyQuest go for the engage, but it is a disengage over the wall here from Svenskeren as well as Kumo. Kumo does go down, but he gets Santorin low enough that on the other side they are fighting for this. Bang getting the last hit on the Herald. Neither jungler was involved. And then Jiizuke, a lot of it really comes down to the difference in power that he does have. PowerOfEvil is shooting away, but he's sitting on a Hex Drinker and a Cull, essentially, at this point. So really doesn't have a lot going for him compared to the Lost Chapter, as well as that Stinger. There's going to be a lot of additional damage coming out there from Jiizuke, and Svenskeren had a great team fight here. Unsurprising on the Gragas, which, as you said, has been his best champion in playoffs. Has really been looking very, very good on it. And now that he's off the marksman, back on this, he is looking great. And EG are looking in full control.
Alrighty, again, props to Jiizuke for how the early game went. A lot of those victories were earned purely through mid difference, and that is important. Jiizuke was such a big factor in EG's climb to second seed at the very end. They had a 6-3 run in the regular season. Call it 7-3 if you want to count the tiebreaker game played out there as well, and a lot of that was Jiizuke really stepping up, the team really coming together, and he is back to being in dominant form, at least in this game, pushing PoE around, getting a lot of that lead early on. I do want to see if this turret can fall before too long. This is the kind of health bar where you would summon the Herald. I'm glad I didn't wait any longer because it was going to time out. The plates were going to drop, and now we're going to see the play towards the top side. It's going to be the dive coming in. Big Naka comes in, solo behind as well. Should be a lot of Nakas, but it's already the kill in a WildTurtle. It's a 1-for-0 so far, and Santorin has to run away, but Zeyzal might find himself on that kill, and he does indeed. A 2-for-0. Turret's going to fall on top of that one, and IgNar has a flash away from a Kumo stun. PoE joins the squad, but only for the retreat. Evil Geniuses 2-for-0 on the fight, plus the turret picked up as well. They are absolutely slapping FlyQuest.
Jiizuke is pushing mid lane here too. They could even get that tower, maybe even take the top lane tower. EG are running rampant in this game, and despite the fact that it was FlyQuest who were trying to make this play happen, who were trying to look for the aggressive move, Svenskeren just walked right up and one-hit WildTurtle. Jiizuke dropping the Vitality logo from Worlds. Last time he made his appearance there, having a pretty big splash with that team, and getting his own opportunity to throw a little bit of BM back the way of FlyQuest, who has been having a good time of it thus far. So here it is. Devour does come in to buy a lot of time, and they just watch Gragas right there and nails WildTurtle, ults him straight into a body slam and Q. That combo knocks him down immediately. Solo had TP'd in early, but with Turtle already dead, they just don't have any staying power in the fight. They don't have any consistent damage, and this game is looking extremely bad for FlyQuest, especially when you are playing this type of comp that has multiple burst type champions, where you have the Nocturne, you have the Pyke, where you need that early punch. You need to be playing from an advantage so you can kind of snowball through that fight, one-shot someone right off the bat. And if that's not happening, well, you're not going to have much going on.
Price check on the gold lead 15 minutes in, 6,000. Much larger than FlyQuest had in either of the other games. I mean, if Fly was dominating in game 1 and 2, EG or whatever's above that one here in game 3. If this is the form that they can show for us the series, that is the most scary right now. EG gonna be able to get some control now. Drake number 2 on the board. It's not gonna be an incredibly fast stack, but it's still gonna be second Drake claimed at 15 and change. That's not a terrible clip. That could still be a 26-minute Dragon solo if they can keep that pace going. Kumo kind of pushed back to the side of the map, but again has the farm lead against Solo. Here comes a potential 2-in-1 dive. Nocturne ult popped. Here's the ulti in for the Renekton, gonna keep alive as best he can. He's feared. He's taken so much damage, and he cannot heal through it. Kill on the top side. Nicely done. FlyQuest gets something on the board, but they will lose that second Drake.
Kumo almost able to fight back there. You saw that heal for over 500 with the Q, but Ornn is just too damn tanky. With all that early armor, he can tank up so many tower shots. Jiizuke, though, going to clean up a return kill here. 4-0 and 2, 166 CS. He is so rich at this point in the game.
That man wanted vengeance, and he has it for my top laner. And gets the kill back into Santorin. 2 and 3, poor guy. He's got all the kills on FlyQuest's side. Good job, Santorin, here. But this game is so out of hand. This is a ludicrously great early game for Evil Geniuses. This is already the expected win. It's kind of incredible to me how much the early games have been absurdly volatile. We have not had a close 20 minutes in any of these 3 games so far, and they've all gone the way of the early game lead.
And a lot of it has honestly been somewhat unforced errors. I do think Jiizuke played that mid lane situation very, very well, but it was FlyQuest overforcing it. It was PowerOfEvil level 2 going into a level 3 mid laner with less health and kind of really getting punished for that. And then Santorin over chasing, just as I think in game 1 and 2, EG overstepped and made execution errors in their fight in game 1, in the bot lane, in their fight by the mid lane in game 2. So these teams are really punishing their opponents incredibly well when they do misstep, and it's resulting in incredibly big gold leads.
We'll see where else the leads can go right now. Is the bot lane's being cleared away by FlyQuest. Going to give IgNar a little bit of that farm as he goes to knock down the cannon, put a couple of autos down to that turret. Kumo the only one who can defend it, and realistically, yeah, surviving a 1v2 against Kalista Pyke, not exactly a good dive you want to look at there. So playing it defensively, letting the rest of his team do the hard work elsewhere. It will be FlyQuest getting on the board for their first major objective of this game, with bot outer falling. Keep in mind, second Herald's already been grabbed, and there's 3 people ready to push into the top side. So PowerOfEvil will grab some of these Krugs, gets the entire camp. That's nice. Package is really good as well. It's going to clear the entire wave out. If they wanted to, they could summon Herald and knock it down, but they've got enough that they could just walk in and do it all the same. That means Herald can be summoned maybe for the inhibitor turret or mid lane tier 2.
Yeah, they are holding on to it for now, so I assume that they want to save it potentially for mid lane tier 2. Svenskeren just going to retreat back to that red buff, so they are able to knock that down. Trade of turrets, obviously a more valuable one going the way of EG, and they're going to be able to take away this red buff here for Bang, which is going to be feeling very, very nice. And yeah, straight into a mid lane tier 2 setup. Shelly will get dropped, and that's going to be another tower going down. FlyQuest are looking for the flank, but it's going to be spotted by Kumo very early.
All right, here comes the next fight right away. It's FlyQuest pulling the trigger, finding a knockup onto the tanks, but not a lot else. That's a big knockup for Solo, though. And the ult is not going to land. Good stopwatch usage because there's no ult left, no depth from below for IgNar. Ulti, though, is huge for Bang. That's 1 kill picked up, and it's a full retreat for FlyQuest. Everyone is low. A flash stun for Kumo means Solo is going to drop. That's 2 kills picked up and pressure into the mid lane. The turret's already gone. PoE can't defend. Inhibitor cracked. Great ult for Jiizuke. The follow through is there. What a fight for Evil Geniuses. 4-0. The inhibitor already gone at 19.5 minutes. They are absolutely crushing this game.
What a game from EG. What a way to battle back in what has been a really rough series for them. They take the first inhib pre-20. They're up 10,000 gold. And that team fight was not close. Kumo spotted out the flank very early on. And Santorin committed his ultimate over onto this Renekton, who was able to escape it with a double dash. So as soon as that happens, it feels like the fight is already pretty much doomed. You can see at the bottom of your screen there, the ult from Santorin right over on Renekton. Nothing happens there. It was a great knock-up from Solo and a nice stopwatch from Svenskeren to avoid that Pyke ultimate. But Zeyzal, with this Stoneblade, just steps forward, tanks up so much damage. And then that Infernum ulti from Bang just absolutely tore through the rest of the FlyQuest team and allowed Jiizuke and Kumo to go on the chase. Kumo spots him out. Jiizuke looks to go over the wall. EQ flash ulti combo. Maximum distance there, pushing him back right into the Renekton to grab him a couple more kills.
Really pleased with how EG is playing this game out right now. 21 minutes in, almost. It's already a 9,000 gold lead. This is absolute absurdity. This game is not close at all. We'll see if EG can keep looking this good as they play throughout the rest of this series. This is going to be bottom tier 2 already gone. As we know, the inhibitor is already dead. Third Drake has spawned. Baron's on the map here as well, but they're going for the base itself. Kumo tries for a stun. Can't find him, but Bane's going to start shooting the turret. Wave clear. Decent enough for FlyQuest. They get the minions, but they're not going to save the turret. There's another open inhibitor. And again, no real way to defend this when you're down 9,000 gold like this. They're actually leaving Solo in the top lane to push. Again, better turrets killed for EG. They knock down the inhib. That's 2 inhibitors down already. And Bang going to find a bit of a route towards PowerOfEvil. Only going to come down as well as the teleport. This might be a fight that FlyQuest tries to go for, but there's an Azir turret right behind them. There's the knockup. There is almost the kill, but Svenskeren has Zhonya's hourglass, and again, death from below is not going to land. It's a 1-for-1 though, make it a 2-for-1 though, as again, Jiizuke's on the board for 2 kills, 6-0-6, and they're ready to keep chasing down. Super Minion's already inside the base, and here comes Zeyzal, bringing in himself for a bit more of a play. He's going to flash away from this one. Stun's going to land for Kumo. Nearly solo kills IgNar, and now PoE forced to run back to the fountain as well. They're still coming in, looking for kills on the Nexus turrets. It's only 22 minutes in, and they're ready to close out this game. The health bars are low, though. This is a bit risky. The respawns are coming in just 5 seconds. PowerOfEvil gets away. Still a 4 versus 3 push, making a 4 versus 2 on the Nexus. Kumo's at 1 hit from dead. But here comes the re-engage. They might save the Nexus. It's close, and it's not. It's game over. The Dabbing Penguin comes in. Evil Genius has crushed game 3.
What a game. EG 22-minute win. That is one of the fastest competitive games you will see. That is ridiculous how quickly they cleaned up FlyQuest in that game, especially when you take into consideration how the series has looked. It has been EG getting pummeled in game 1 and game 2 to about 30-minute wins for FlyQuest. But EG switched things up in the draft. They get Svenskeren off of the marksman. They put him on a proactive early jungler. And Jiizuke really was about the mid lane in this game, coming up huge in what was that 1v2 situation, getting the solo kill on PowerOfEvil to follow that up after he was already ahead, and just dominated the mid lane, where PowerOfEvil rarely ever gets exploited like that. He's such a stable player, Santorin as well, but they made a big mistake, and EG punished them incredibly well for it.
Yeah, that game was as one-sided as game 1 and 2 combined right there. A certain way of thinking about it, this series is tied based on how much they completely crushed that game.
They
it's
get
almost
2 points for that?
You know? They almost get 2 points for that one. You know, it was from half court or something like that. But either way, beautiful play right there. It makes me very excited for the future of this series. We'll see if FlyQuest can turn it around or if EG keeps this form. It's going to be fun to watch. Well, so, with EG keeping their dreams alive, the State Farm Analyst Desk will break that game down when we return.
So Josh, you going for our Drive Safe and Safe discount?
Yep, using the app, driving safe. You wanna go, bro? Do not mess with my discount.
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save.
Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk, where we have ourselves a series. Evil Geniuses, with the fastest win of their entire split just now, have breathed new life into this best-of-5 series score 2-1. Mark?
Yeah, that was insane to watch. I was ready to start counting them out. I know it's Jiizuke, but in my head I'm like, oh, Azir, it's, you know, more late game. Aphelios is late game. Maybe they're just trying to, like, not contest the early game anymore, but the play style was not reflective of that at all.
Probably you guys...
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Chad.
Oh, sorry. Last game, I was talking about how Jiizuke pushed up too far in the early game and got ganked and then lost control of the lane. Santorin actually did the exact same timing on the gank, 250. He shows up mid while Jiizuke has the wave pushed. This time Svenskeren is there. They have a better 2v2. They burn flash, and that started that double rejuve bead by PoE that just turned into a terrible game. So a lot of it actually started at the 3.
I mean, the discrepancy in the mid lane gold values was astronomical, but probably what I think is so interesting to me about this is that the EG took an approach counter to what you guys were asking for in the pregame, saying, hey, maybe now it's time to go to red side and utilize that side of pick ban, but instead they hang on to blue one last time and they're able to finagle, winning team comp.
Yeah, so the mid lane stuff, I think they definitely weren't listening, and it's okay. I respect their decision not to pay attention to us, but I will say, stopping the IgNar train of banning Blitz and Rakan, I think really happy about that. And then taking the Gragas early and going away from this Kindred Graves, I can farm and invade, and going for this I can gank, I really, really like. The Azir was, I think, definitely a huge surprise. When I first saw the Azir, I was really, really sad, just like Mark. I was like, oh no, Jiizuke's playing like a control mage, this is gonna go badly, but the way he played it was just amazing. He pushed up really hard, and he was just winning trades constantly, and then Gragas comes and shadows him. It was really well played early game.
Yeah, but Mark, I want to talk about the way that this gold lead really exploded, because this, again, we looked at 2 fairly dominant victories out of FlyQuest, but this makes those 2 look like they were even games.
Yeah, this is the most explosive game we've seen in a while, and I think it came down to a lot of these really nice skirmishes where they were able to counter out the side of FlyQuest. They have a good mix of reactive play and proactive play, where the Tahm Kench can devour, Gragas can knock people back, but you can also go and start the fights. You have a power pick in the top lane as well. FlyQuest still attacked it and killed Kumo in the side lanes a couple times, but it was nowhere near as bad as it has been in the other games. And I think the play in the top side, where I watched them TP behind with the Ornn, Tahm Kench devours Aphelios and just sits with him for the whole 4 seconds, waiting for the Ornn ult to come in once and go back out before coming back out. If Bang is untouched, he is such a monster. And this was a game where we're talking about the Pyke not having as much presence probably as the Rakan and Blitzcrank would have had. So this was a great game for Bang, great game for Jiizuke, and especially Svenskeren as well, getting involved early.
Well, with a very dominant Game 3 in the rearview mirror, we are going to throw those ESPN viewers over to a quick commercial break. We'll see you here on the other side. Jat, I'm coming to you next, though, in refaming for Game 4. We already have side selection at the ready. It's FlyQuest going to blue for the very first time this series. But how much of a dominant loss like that, 22 minutes, should you really be taking into account for a FlyQuest team that looked very good in the first 2?
I think they shouldn't be too worried about it, because a lot of it, I think they just got surprised by the Gragas priority that EG was willing to put on them, and they really saw the impact of what having a stronger mid-jungle in the early game can do against Jiizuke, who doesn't respect junglers. So what I would expect them to do with blue side is they have more access to overall power picks. You do get a lot of leverage in being able to control what type of your first power pick is, and then, they have freedom now to ban Gragas if they want to, and they can prevent Svenskeren from being on such a high impact early game jungle.
Now, probably teeing off of what Jat just said there, it really felt like EG's success pivoted off of 2 things, and that is the mid and the jungle. All series long, we've been highlighting the 2 mid laners, and when you look at Jiizuke statistically in his step up from games 1 and 2 to game 3, it's really obvious here.
Yeah, and this was a blind pick Azir, so I'm not saying Corki was a counter pick in any way, but it was definitely a matchup that PoE is going to be comfortable on, and I mean, Jiizuke just found every single ounce of mistake and just punished it really hard. So now we're going to be on red side. Sorry, Jiizuke is going to be on red side now, and so I'm definitely expecting this to be a counter pick, and I don't know, if he can play the way he did in Game 3, get the support, I would expect the Game 4 to have pretty insane stats too. Probably not 13 KDA again. But
I like where your head's at, though, probably, with the Wii. Yeah. With the last game, I put you in charge of figuring it out. Yeah, so you're already in that mindset.
We're going down together, or we're winning together.
Look at that difference, though. It's just massive. I hate the fact that I think it takes away Svenskeren's agency, but just path around Jiizuke and let him go to work, because if they don't do that, I feel like
what you're seeing on that graphic is the 0 ISO deaths. You're not seeing the 3 solo kills that he as well picked up once he was given that lead. And Mark, to again, Jat's point that he just made there, setting Jiizuke up for success, it feels like it comes from Svenskeren. So do you align with the idea that Sven should build his entire game plan around that mid lane and Jiizuke?
More or less. I like the first rotation jungle grab this game. I thought that was a very smart adaptation. As much as you want to protect Kumo, I think getting Svenskeren's best champions is more important. And I think you saw how good he can be when he has one, as well as the fact that Santorin has been not predictable, but he's done very similar things in a lot of early games where he's looking for these 3-minute ganks on Trundle, sometimes going like red to top side to try and get an early advantage. And the only one who's really going to be susceptible to that is Jiizuke, so I totally agree with Jat's point about playing around there. The only thing that I have a small concern about is now moving to red side. They don't have the freedom to do those 2 really critical support bans, most likely, unless they want to leave up a bunch of the quote-unquote OPs, like the Senna and the Set and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was about to go there next. Probably we talk about IgNar for FlyQuest being such a difference maker, and in game 3, notably not on that recon, falls down in a loss from blue side. Obviously, they have no control over the bans that EG throws, but how highly are you prioritizing a pick here for IgNar as compared to the rest of the team?
I mean, I'm going to keep it at the same. I think IgNar gets a pick in 4 or 5, because I'm expecting to see another recon ban in 1, 2, 3 from EG. I really hope so. Please don't troll me there, guys. But when we go down to support go to 4 or 5, like if you want to ban the Blitz, like the Pyke is still pretty good. I know that game we didn't really get to see the Pyke perform, but I think that was kind of a culmination of what just happened mid. So the game was just too accelerated for him to have an impact. So I think he can still play the Pyke, the Blitz. So he has too many champions to ban out. So pushing his pick down, I think, is going to be really valuable for an advantage in the draft for FlyQuest.
ESPN viewers have rejoined us, but from here I want to jump to the top lane. Since we've hit pretty much everything, we may as well do justice around Summoner's Rift and take a look, because interestingly enough, it was EG who reached for the Renekton this time around for Kumo. May not have had the biggest impact on the game, but a small shift in the matchups that are occurring in the top lane.
It was a weird one.
Yeah, I think...
Jat first.
Okay, yeah, I win. I think that it actually doesn't matter that much. Like, Kumo, yeah, he hasn't had an influence on these games, and if he's not on Ornn, I feel like it's even more reason to play around Jiizuke. Maybe on red side they can get him on Ornn, but even then, I don't think he necessarily improved based on
I think the one good thing about that, dropping his pick down to 4-5 there, is they put 2 bans into him, and he still was the same kind of player, So I think
he had the same impact taking more resources, essentially.
Yeah. Right, that's where I was going to go, is I can't believe they banned Aatrox Poppy, with the Ornn up. And maybe if I saw solo on a more carry-oriented champion and you wanted to ban some things, like if he had the Aatrox, you say, okay, ban the Poppy counter, let me try and match this guy in lane, I'm fine with it. But Ornn is not like a world beater in lane anymore. He's fine, he's good, you can make stuff happen. But double banning the enemy the enemy team's weakest player to not really get a substantial advantage feels terrible when you're also then allowing Jiizuke to pick whatever he wants. They do have a shared champion pool, so I understand, both people are holding their mids and you're kind of banning yourself out a little bit more. But you got to figure out something better to do with your next 2 bans, because that wasn't it.
The carry point there is interesting to me, Mark. Notably absent from this series so far is Solo's GP. Any thoughts on whether or not that has a place in this series?
Only into, it feels like Aatrox is if Kumo is going to take that on red side early, which a lot of teams do, that's where you see it. We were all talking a little bit about potentially just taking it into the Ornn and not worrying about it to have a higher presence in team fights later.
All right, well, there you have it from us here on the State Farm Analyst Desk. EG has made this one a series looking for 2 more victories to tie it up. Well, for FlyQuest, they just need that one. Game 4 is coming up after this break.